Greetings, CBC. Welcome to this week's Sunday warm-up. Real quickly, just a few reminders coming up. This week being 4th of July on Thursday, we will not have Thursday Bible study here at the church, so no Thursday morning Bible study. This Sunday is the first Sunday of the month, so at both services, we will have communion at the end of each of the services. There will be In the Word Sunday night, 6 to 7:30. So we will have a Men in the Word and a Women in the Word group meeting. And then keep in mind, soccer camp's coming up. I've got most of the volunteers filled in already. Thank you so much for all those that have let me know. I am still looking for a handful of folks that can help us out with the 4 to 6-year-old group. So if you're able to be a part of soccer camp that week, let me know and I'll get you plugged in. Lastly, I mentioned just briefly, but starting to look at some dates for our annual baptism service. So if you are interested in being baptized, let me know. If the date that we happen to pick doesn't work out for you, we can always try to work out something else to come alongside you in that. All right, this week, Romans chapter 10, verse 18 through chapter 11, verse 10. That'll be the text for us, Romans 10, 18 through chapter 11, verse 10. Another great example where we don't have to make stuff up when we're going through Scripture. I don't have to sit here and pull my hair out trying to figure out what do we teach, what do we talk about. We're just going to walk right through the text. And this is brilliantly put together. I mean, God put it together, so we shouldn't expect anything less, I guess, right? But what I want to do is just give you the bullet points. The beauty is, like, I'm not revealing any secrets to you of what I've worked hard on, because this was written many, many years ago, and we're just going to steal the outline right out of Scripture. We're going to walk right through it together. Paul, again, references quite a bit of Old Testament passages here. He'll give us the verse. And so I do, with a handful of these, on Sunday and in prep, we should read some of the verses around it. I do think a lot of the audience here would have been more familiar with the context and of the particular verse. And so we should either refresh ourselves of what that context is or read it for the first time so that we are aware of how he is answering all of these questions that he puts forth in the text. So remember, last week we ended with faith comes from hearing and hearing through the word of Christ. How beautiful are the feet of those who carry the good news. Well, Romans 9, 10, 11 has been wrestling with this question of what has happened with God's chosen people, the people of Israel, who have not responded to the gospel or to Messiah Christ. What about them? And so 18 begins. I'm gonna walk you right through each point, give you the Old Testament references we'll look at. So verse 18 of Romans 10. Have they not heard? Paul's, but I ask, have they not heard? Did they not hear? Is that the problem? The people of Israel didn't hear? No, that's not the case. And indeed, they have heard. And he actually takes us back to Psalm 19. You got time, read all of Psalm 19. We're going to look at Psalm 19, verses 1 to 11 on Sunday. So his answer back is Scripture. Look what Psalm 19 says. Yes, they have heard. Okay, verses 19 to 21. So maybe they heard, but did they not understand? And Paul goes, well, yes, they did understand. And he goes, first I want to tell you something from Moses, then I'm going to tell you something from Isaiah, and then of the people of Israel themselves. They're just a disobedient and contrary people. And he's quoting from Scripture there of the Old Testament. The passages there you want to take a look at is Deuteronomy 32, verse 1, and Isaiah 65, verses 1 to 7. On Sunday, we will look at Isaiah 65, 1 to 7. So then thirdly, he says, well, okay, I ask then. So you're telling me they've heard and they did understand, but they were just being disobedient and contrary. So did God reject his people? Paul gives us that familiar by no means here. Don't you dare say that. He did not reject his people whom he foreknew. You might want to go back to Romans 9 and reread what we saw there. That's important. And he gives two examples, one from himself, and secondly from Elijah. 1 Kings chapter 19, fantastic passage there. We will look at that and talk briefly about that as well on Sunday here. 1 Kings 19. And he reminds them that there was a remnant that is chosen by grace then and now, even to this present day. What then? Paul says, okay, so they have heard, they did understand. God did not reject his people. So then what was going on? Well, he says the elect obtained God's grace, but the rest were hardened. Romans 11, 7-10. And he gives two examples again from the Old Testament. Take a look at Isaiah 29, 10-14, and Psalm 69, verses 22-23. A lot of scriptures this week. He's referencing a lot of Old Testament, and so we ourselves should take some time to look back and to read those as well. You would do well to prepare ahead of time by reading those passages, noting them, marking them. We would all do well to go ahead and mark them ahead of time in our Bible so that we can turn to them quickly. We do want to cover a lot of this ground on Sunday. I think it's vitally important. This is a fantastic section here again within Scripture that we're looking at. And then as we end, before we take communion, I want to offer some thoughts for application. I'm not going to give you what those thoughts are now, but I'll be honest with you. They come right out of the text. The actual phrases we're going to use are right out of the text. You don't have to be creative. We don't have to make stuff up. We don't have to try to use any sort of trickery. We can just go right out of Scripture and go, wow, these are the applications for us today. One passage in particular that I want to use at the end for this application, because it's going to come right out of one of the verses here, and I think it connects so well, and I hope it is by this point a very familiar passage of Scripture, as I've been referencing it hundreds of times, I think literally in the last 2.5 years. 2 Corinthians 4, 1-6. 2 Corinthians 4, 1-6. Some of the challenges out of the context of what we're studying here for us today are so vitally important for us to hear. And it would and will, I believe, or should, shape our prayers individually and our prayers as a body of believers for us and for all those around us and all those places that God will take us as we carry the good news of Christ. Boy, it's Monday and I'm just now getting first time going through this text and prep for this Sunday, and I am so excited. I wish we were gathering tonight, but I got all week to let it percolate and fill up with some stuff. So be prepared on Sunday for things to come quick and to go through a lot of material together. I come prayed up and ready to roll. Let's come warmed up and ready to get into the Word. All right. God bless you this week. Have a wonderful week. Happy 4th to you. Hope you have some nice time. If you're traveling, being with some family this week, God bless you. Cannot wait to be with you on Sunday this week. God bless you.